Yep.
No, I tried to bring my teeth. She had it.
Paul Turton friend. What friend?
My legs wagging.
Fred.
Oh, Fred.
How are you?
We're singing this
Oh, I know where you're singing to, but then
It's like Danielle's.
So we're singing.
I'll give you 5 minutes.
I'll never get organised in time.
Yeah, like peaceful.
I know. I'll never get organised in time.
So we're singing at St Mark's Hall.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
Well, I didn't see you. Did you want to say something?
crowd of people that come
Yeah.
Like an announcement?
No.
You sure?
Don't have it.
Can rely on those.
Just being made.
They're sick of you. I don't need it. Hallelujah. No pressure, boys. You know the song.
No, it's like, I thought it was like quite good. I know it.
Yeah, that's right. Andrew knows that everybody.
It's a very vanilla
Now,
yes. Oh, no, I think I know this.
come on, Michael. You can do it, Michael.
It's like it's a lot.
Thank you. Take the milk out. Yeah, I know. I can't get sidetracked.
You saw the old roundabout, like and
Okay, who wanted the milk? Yes, please. I got sidetracked with talking. Can you just pull it away?
I'm sure Jerry got involved.
Well, I wasn't sure. Well, I wasn't quite sure.
What about the ones where the monkeys play?
I might get some.
I'll put it on and I can
I'm not sure they're
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
then there's, I just put some bun here.
When we leave on the Saturday, 8 o'clock's going to be fun to do.
What else doesn't it? See what you're playing.
I'll get it
We
from
have to
Robin.
bring in one day one. I thought we'd meet somebody for lunch.
Why don't we meet at Glen Rowan?
Oh, Nick Kelly.
Yeah, right, Nick Kelly.
I've never been to Glen Rowan. I maybe stop at McDonald's.
Yeah, so
We'll go to town.
We have to go to the house.
Oh.
Every jump on somebody in the art gallery.
I've got them in big print. So there, that's the reading, because that screen's broken, and that's the song. Okay. Right?
There's an art gallery here that's supposed to be.
yeah, the art gallery now.
And it's very done.
Oh, we could have one. No.
It's very done.
Yep.
Oh, what was
Now
that?
we're halfway.
Oh, yeah.
There's only 3 or 5. And we can't leave the tree.
No, that's right. So it's not going to leave it too early.
Stop. I saw across the
Really lovely actually.
I'm going for a week.
Like really Aboriginal, Indigenous.
No, she helped me find it.
Oh, you're not doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Like an historic site where they had to go on to immigrants from European migration. Oh, was it really? Oh, happy birthday. I just got this thing. It was some close and sort of this side area. She's desperately trying to say it's all birthdays.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, don't think I'm happy.
So it's sort of like, this is your thing, and they've got good size. Yeah, what's the
Right, so you have to decide. No, you've got 2 weeks. Sorry, what's the... Yeah, Miller.
So we had ours filled up. She did say, tell me how much you transferred to the
It's costing you about $400 to fill up or something. Yeah, that's right.
So you've got to go to the ones where you
But it was good because
you can jump spots. You might have 25 stop 1, 2, go another 12 kilometres. Okay, 5-minute warning, everyone. No, 3-minute warning. Is this clock right? No? Okay, so 3-minute warning. Thank you, Rosemary.
As opposed to your friend, your husband.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Now, I'll make an excuse straight away. The excuse is the screen that I look at, or people at the front look at, is not working. So if I keep on going like that, you'll know it's not because I'm turning it back on you. But welcome. Thanks for coming today. So we'll start with the acknowledgement of country. We thank and acknowledge the Indigenous people who for so many generations looked after the land on which we are now meeting, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. And we're going to do a little bit of the affirmation, and I really like this one that Paul had a couple of weeks ago, which was based on Psalm 133:1. How wonderful it is when God's people live together in unity. We come just as we are, woven together in our diversity. Christ welcomes every person, every gender, culture, and every expression of love in this space. No one is a stranger here. We are all deeply loved by God. In our differences, we find our strength. In our shared breath, we find our connection. Together, we form one vibrant community. God, who loves us completely, binds us together in peace. Great to have everyone here, both personally and via the wonders of the World Wide Web. Hello everyone who is tuning in there. Today's theme is forward. And in keeping with this, Paul Turton and friends, is that correct, Paul? There's an and friends who we can't reveal. They're secret. Will be talking to us a bit later on how we are planning for the next stage in our church community's journey. I think that seeing Robin and Janine here, we haven't done it for a while. Would you like to do a roll call, Janine?
Yes, please.
Okay. And Robin would too? Okay, so why don't we start? So everybody knows what a roll call is, just so people, Robin and Janine knows who's here. So you call out your name. Okay, do you want me to go through it again? Okay, let's start right at the back with Janine.
Janine.
Loud voice.
Janine wasn't concentrating.
Okay, let's go to the back.
John.
And around here, Gwen. Why don't I just go around? We got Janine.
And Fiona.
Yep, Fion's down the bottom there.
Dan.
Karen.
Paul.
Katrina. Judith.
David.
Andrew.
Rosemary.
Sue.
John. Peter.
John, yeah.
Andy.
I'm Carol.
And Dave.
David.
And
Barb.
well done everyone.
Who are you?
Oh, and Bo, of course, in the soundproof booth.
G'day, Bo.
Okay, let's take some time to focus. I want you to read this quote. If we don't go forward, we won't find anything. You know who this is by. Shiro Amano, who's a Japanese manga artist. If we don't go forward, we don't find anything. Imagine our lives that we're riding in the peloton. We're all being dragged forward. Where are we in the peloton? Are we making a break forward? Are we taking our turn at the front to share the load with those behind us? Are we in the middle cruising? Do we think we're heading the wrong way? Are we just hanging on at the back? Or have we dropped off the pack altogether? We're going to listen while you contemplate that. A well-known song. It's performed by Hannah's Yard. And whilst we do that, Barb will light the candle. Thanks, Bo.
There must be higher love down in the heart, or hidden in the stars above. Without it, life is a wasted time. Look inside your heart and I'll look inside mine. Things look so bad everywhere. In this whole world, what is fair? We walk the line and try to see, falling behind and what could be. Bring me a higher love. Bring me a higher love. Oh. Bring me a higher love. Where's that higher love I keep thinking of? Words turning and we're just hanging on, facing our fear and standing out there alone. And yearning, and it's real to me. There must be someone who's feeling for me. Things look so bad everywhere. In this whole world, what is there? We walk the line and try to see, falling behind and what could be. Bring me a higher love. Bring me a higher love. Oh, bring me a higher love. Where's that higher love I keep thinking of? Bring me a higher love. Where's that higher love I keep thinking of?
Forward. What does Larson say about moving forward? When man discovered fire, his partner tells him, "Oh, Thack, you've done it. If only we had a camera." But of course, I'm just getting ahead of myself. We keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. And that was a quote from Walt Disney. Even if you fall on your face, you're still moving forward. And that's a quote by Victor Kiam. Now, who knows who Victor Kiam is? Correct. The man who liked the company product so much he bought the company. Remember that ad? Remington, correct. I'm on my grandparenting L plates, so that means that when I suggest ideas, it doesn't necessarily go down well. So when there's a problem with the grandchild, I'll suggest a solution, and perhaps it's not well received. So Isaac was teething and a bit grumpy about it, so I immediately suggested, well, let's smother his mouth with Bonjela. That's what I did with all you kids. And of course I was met by the often repeated phrase that I hear, "We don't do that anymore, Dad." The past has been replaced by an improved model. Now, moving forward's preached into all of us. There's no going back. Like a shark, we have to move forward or perish. We have to embrace the new. Nothing stays the same. How does it make us feel when change is unstoppable? I'd suggest there's 3 frames of mind that we go through. Number 1, terror. How can I keep up? Do I have the skills? I just can't do this. Number 2, weariness. I am too tired to change. I've seen this movie too many times before. And number 3 would be concerned. Concern. Will the hard-earned lessons of the past be just pushed aside? Is wisdom being ignored? What value has tradition in the new? Whilst all those responses can be valid, I'd suggest concern has a rightful place in consideration of forward. You, I, are a mixture of both our underlying personality and our past experiences. Holding on to the positive, building strength from the testing. As this community is effectively a reflection of us, the community is the same, built on experiences, traditions, and lessons of the past. Although we know future and forward will be different, it should continue to reflect us. So perhaps I prefer to look at forward in these 2 quotes. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. From Steve Jobs. And my favourite, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. David's going to come to us and get comfortable because the reading's a long one.
Well, it's a great reading. I'm going to be reading from Luke 24 verses 13 to 35, and it's the goings-on the road to Emmaus, which many of us know about this. We had the road to Emmaus as a theme for our church one year, about 25 or 30 years ago. I remember there was a banner, which was here for a long time, but somebody has probably thrown it out recently. Yeah.
But if you would like to come and
Okay.
free.
And I've learned from the reading that Emmaus, the village, was about 7 miles from Jerusalem. And one of the things I've always thought I want to do is go to Jerusalem at Easter time and walk the significant geographical features of the Easter story in the week of Easter. I reckon that would be absolutely great to do. So it would probably conclude by going 7 miles from Jerusalem to Emmaus. Now on that same day, 2 of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognising him. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other while you walk along?" They stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place there in these days?" He asked them, "What things?" They replied, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the third day since these things took place. Moreover, some women of our group astounded us. They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body there, they came back and told us that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him. Then he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have declared. Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and then enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself in all the scriptures. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead as if he were going on. But they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it's almost evening and the day is now nearly over." So he went in to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognised him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" That same hour they got up and returned to Jerusalem, and they found the 11 and their companions gathered together. They were saying, "The Lord has risen indeed, and he has appeared to Simon." Then they told us what had happened on the road, and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread.
Love it. Morning, everyone. Finally, it's happened. We're going to kick off our conversation about strategy, or our, if you like, our plan for the future, looking forward for Hartwell. It's taken quite a while. The reason I advocated for this reading today, and thank you, David, for reading it, it's a terrific story. It's very much about, and I wanted it to be read this morning because it's very much about how the church needs to give meaning to what it has experienced. So whilst we're looking forward and looking ahead, we need to look at the events of our own story and give meaning to those events, and to come to an understanding about how God is at work in our lives. And sometimes it just takes a hell of a long time to allow those things to have an impact, and to be curious and to explore the impact they have on our lives. The number of things I want to say about the reading in addition to that is that, first of all, when I was at North Carlton Baptist, which became Emmaus Baptist Community, as an outcome of a strategic or a planning process looking forward, we were very much drew a lot of meaning, enormous meaning from this passage from Luke's Gospel. It is about how we saw it as how the church actually started to form itself and create, out of a sense of despair and a loss of hope, how it found hope by giving meaning to the story of Jesus' ministry, and how that was going to take root in their own lives. We went on a 3-year process And we eventually made a decision to sell what was a property that had been bought in a public housing estate. And we sold that, and we bought 2 houses in Coburg, and we demolished one, and we built a residential community, and we demolished the back of one and fully restored a building, and part of our life, it's about space about this size, was connected to a kitchen because we felt hospitality was a big part of our life. The other thing about this story is that the disciples, or the people on the road, recognised the risen Christ in the breaking of the bread. Were not our hearts burning? And I think this is an important part of when this is back at North Carlton or Emmaus days, we learnt to understand that in the breaking of the bread, we recognised the risen Christ was amongst us. And it was very Church Christ. It was probably the most Church Christ Baptist church we'd been to, because communion became this really important thing, because Baptists have sort of pushed it to the side, and Baptists largely gather to hear the word, the preached word. What we discovered was that we actually gather together to break bread and share a common life and celebrate that common life, and that's where we find the living Christ. So through that journey, a kitchen opening out into a worship space became a place of hospitality. Communion became a full meal, and often we would celebrate communion around a lunch after church. And so these are the things that naturally evolved. The great thing about Grace Tree, and I think it might be nice to talk to Simon, who's the minister there now, but it became Grace Tree, is that they've got a community garden there. They've got a sustainable community, got an art studio, which we put in. There's an oratory for prayers, and the main house is obviously a place of worship and music and celebration. And it's just one of the most gratifying things to be a part of a journey where a church goes on that journey and listens to its own heart. Were not our hearts burning? What are the things that are burning within us? And I think that's a discernment exercise. It's about learning to listen to what's really giving us life, and to name it and to celebrate it. And so one of the great things about that is to see that bear fruit. And one of the ways it did bear fruit was by me leaving. So, which at the end of that planning process, we built a place, all of that. We'd merged with this house church community, and there was a pastor of that community who came across, and I just thought I had this instant conviction that my job was done, and in order for that community to thrive, I needed to leave, and which it has thrived, and it's an interesting realisation. But it was quite a liberating one too, and I felt like my job was done. And to this day it thrives. So that's sort of my story about I could talk a lot more in detail about how we got to that place. But it took time. But once we actually had a common vision and a common view and about how we were going to do that, the process was very quick, because we'd done all that background work and forming community and working together. So all of that's a bit of a background to what we're doing in the next 5-6 months here at Hartwell. I know that sounds like a long time. It's been a long time coming, but I have been working this through with the leadership team, and working also with Andy and Jocelyn in the last couple of months to really shape up the process and how we will begin the journey. So up on the screen we've got a Hartwell pathway. So it is about recognising the risen Christ in the sharing of bread and wine. Now, I know this is an important part of what we do at Hartwell, and it really reflects the Emmaus journey so importantly. It's yep, and so it is part of what we're building together in terms of a common life. I think hospitality, Karen and I were talking about this the other day, one of the things that happens at Hartwell really well is hospitality. Hospitality between people are taken care of. We build community very well, and it's one of our strengths. And the way I wanted to lead this process of thinking about our future pathways, was to think about appreciation. So rather than say, well, what are the problems we're trying to solve, which is a very male thing actually, you're trying to solve problems all the time, we're going to start by appreciating what is going well. So it's an appreciation of our common life. I'll just click this on, hang on. Here we go. Oh, gone back. Here we go. So it's appreciation of our common life, and it's about building on our current plan. So it's not about trying to reinvent the wheel. There's a whole lot of great work that was done over 3 years ago at Hartwell, and it's about, so how is that going? What do we want to amplify, lift up and do more of? And there might be things we say, look, you know, that hasn't really taken root or hasn't really inspired us. There might be things we want to let go, or there might even be new things we want to do. So that's certainly part of the approach that we're wanting to take. So it starts with appreciation and affirmation. It's about affirming what we value. It's about appreciation what others are doing, and affirming a pathway for our future journey. Andy's going to, I've asked Andy to say a bit about, we thought the welcome and affirming statement was such an important part of Hartwell's life, and it says something about who we are and our intention, and we wanted to pick up on this in the process. And Andy just wanted to say a couple of things about it too, because Andy really reminded, in our conversations leading up to the development of the process, there's a lot of really important input I've had from people, and Andy really spoke to this important point. Over to you. Cheers.
Yeah, so my job is to talk a little bit about how our affirmation statement may really work well to do this. Excuse me for reading notes, I've just got stuff. So the whole thing of appreciative inquiry is looking at what do we do best. And I love the notion of Hartwell having these conversations together about what we do well and what we do well together. So it means that we're going to do a fair bit of talking together as we explore and reflect on who we are and what we might become. So listening is going to be pretty important. And as we listen and as we gather information, I want you to be conscious of that. I want to be conscious that your voice is profoundly important, and that each of us has an honoured place here. And to bring this process to life, we're going to use the affirmation statement, because you matter, and the affirmation statement is clearly about how important you are to us and to our community. One of the other things I like about the affirmation statement, it sits really well between our welcome to country and lighting the Christ candle. It's a really strong thing that we do every week to remind us about ourselves and remind us about what our intention is. And for me personally, the big challenge it means for me is, how do I be inclusive? So every Sunday I get reminded, how do I be inclusive? And what do I do that brings life to this community? What are my biases and what are my prejudices that I need to be aware of? So if we do this well, we get to hear what you're thinking, and we get to hear what you're feeling, we get to hear what your heart's saying, and we bring God into this conversation with all of us. And the thing that I want you to hear most importantly from me is that I'll make every effort to listen well to you. And I'll make effort, as I know Paul will too, and Jocelyn, and as we do this together, we'll catch this idea of working really well to listen carefully to each other, because you matter.
So to ground this little process, this little bit that I've feel clumsily spoken about, what is it that you've heard, even from this service already today? Just sit for a minute and just allow yourself to reflect. What is it you've heard? Where have you been taken to today? And just yell out a few words so you can become part of this conversation already now. So when you're ready, just yell out, what did you hear? What stands out for you?
The need to be honest.
Need to be honest, thank you. Yep. What is?
Importance of community.
Importance of community, yep.
I think like journey or history, like where we've come from, shaping where we're going.
Yep. Our journey, our history, yep. And how that shapes where we're going. Yep, thank you.
With the Emmaus story, sort of walking and talking together, and then noticing we're not our hearts burning, sort of, again, it's a very powerful kind of image to notice how we're feeling and what's
Yeah, yep.
enlivening us.
Yes.
Can you repeat that, Andy, so others can hear?
The main thrust is on journeying together and noticing and how that enliven us. Yes? Yep. You want to add more?
Yeah, walking and talking and noticing. Yeah.
Walking and talking and noticing. Yep. Thank you.
You want to get into a bit of history, looking back, there are some photos taken by Trevor and myself of Hartwood Church before the last service and the last service. So
Yep.
put that on when we had morning tea or something.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. All right. I think that's me done.
Thanks, Andy. So the question is how and what are we doing to begin this journey or to walk along this pathway? Before we start looking to the future, we've done a lot in recent years, and I've just Jocelyn has been looking through a lot of the work that was done in the previous or the current plan that we're working through at the moment. And I've just asked Jocelyn, and it's very generous of you, Jocelyn, given you had your birthday party last night, very generous of you to come up and talk to us. So Jocelyn's just going to summarise a few things and reflect back to you some of the really important themes that emerged from our current plan and how that's going to be worked through in the next few months.
Happy birthday, Jocelyn.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really interesting because obviously everything that we're doing now has to be informed by what happened. And I looked through a number of documents, but the main one was the final plan and document that came out for 2022 to 2026, which is... Sorry, is that better?
Closer to the...
Oh, this one?
Talk to the back wall.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, it was quite fascinating also just to hear what has informed what we do every Sunday. One of the big things was the idea of Hartwell being a well, a source of life, abundance and refreshment. And so contributing to that well and also experiencing that refreshment. Obviously, there are a number of churches that were looked at where people visited, which is something that's going to happen again in this place, and there were 4 workshops from the church. And the values that were listed were spirituality, spiritual exploration and nourishment, well-being, enrichment and nurturance of body, mind, soul and spirit, social connectedness, and exploration and expression of wellness through creativity, personal growth and living values. Finally, there was the value of action, and that involved inclusion, diversity, and engagement with each other, the community, and the world. And I think that hooks back into our affirmation statement. And then there were 6 directives or directions that came out as a result of that. First one was placemaking, and we can definitely see that there's been a lot of that over the last, especially with the Highfield Road property going. The social housing program, which we all know about, a digital presence, setting up channels and podcasts, and spirituality. One of the things that they really talked about was the fact that there are quite a few people who have skills in spiritual direction, and creating welcoming spaces and pastoral care and retreats and interfaith networks were the main things. There was an interesting thing about a pastoral spirituality centre, so I'm not sure where that one comes from, but and an emphasis on well-being through various forms of connection and creativity. So it's a bit dry, but anyway, that is kind of a reasonable summation of the sorts of things that arose from, or that were in the final plan. So thank you.
Thanks, Jocelyn. When you look over the material, and I wasn't part of the process, so I looked at it with fresh eyes, and it's quite inspiring to see what was emerging from those conversations early on. And so I guess when we start to do some reflection on those things in the next few months, we'll again be sort of reacquainted with what was inspiring and what inspired us in the past. And so that is again about appreciating and affirming what we've already done. And probably coming to a point where we go, well, okay, we thought about that then, what does that look like now? And where do we want to take it today and looking forward in the next few years? So it's very much about that appreciation. The process is, we're just going to go on the next slide. I keep forgetting I'm supposed to drive this. How will we work together in the next few months? Well, it's going to be an appreciative process where we're going to do some discovery, and that is listening to each other, reflecting on the work that we've already done and the ideas we've got, and looking externally as well. See what are other people doing, and what's giving us life as we look at that and look internally as well. It's going to be some discernment. So it is about that sense, noticing along the journey, weren't our hearts burning within? What's giving us life? What are we hearing and seeing and talking about that's actually inspiring us? Or and going back to our statement too, what are we doing now, or what have we thought about that we think is really life affirming? So what is it that we should be doing more of? And what are the things that drain life out of us? So noticing that as well and going, do we need to keep doing that? Or if we want to keep doing it, what is it about that makes that so important? So just making that discernment, going through that process. The other one is design. So design is then taking that and starting to get really specific about what we will be doing. And there's a couple of processes I've been using in sort of the last 10, 15 years. Some of you will be familiar with something called World Cafe, which is a little bit like this, and so there's a group process, which we'll use to do that. And then we're going to move into development. So once we've got the design and specific ideas, and there's another methodology called Pro-Action Cafe, where you start to get really specific about your ideas and what they look like and how you're going to implement. So that's moving into the development. And then into the new year, we're going to take all of that with the leadership team and everybody and look at how we're going to implement this and make it happen. So there's this really, it's a process that starts primarily, it's front-loaded by listening and really that discernment piece, and then we'll move very quickly into implementation. But the process is also going to have another dimension. How will we work together in the next few months is also about, the process is about building community. So building on our strengths. So it is, as Andy said, it's about listening deeply and listening even to the dissenting voices and taking time to integrate everything that we're hearing very deeply. It's about strengthening connection. So the process is designed to strengthen connection and strengthen relationships within Hartwell. And it is primarily about developing our common life. It's a way of, there are many ways we develop our common life, but we want the process to reflect that and to really, if you like, to continue to develop our common life together. Mindful that we've made big decisions in the last few months. And so it is the sale of the old Hartwell property now. Those are big decisions, and there's an emotional space for that. And we need to notice that and pay attention to it. And it's an important time for us to be together as Hartwell, H-E-A-R-T, well, together, to actually hear and bring and walk together on that journey. So there are a number of conversations. The big ones I'm just going to talk about coming up are very much around this discovery. It's an appreciative inquiry. And it is about affirming and appreciating what we're doing. It's around August to September. Now, I was reminded the other day, perfection is the enemy of progress. So having a tendency towards being perfectionist means I can get hung up with developing the perfect process. I've been encouraged to actually just get started, let's get on with it. And if we need to adjust the process and change it, I'm very open to doing that, and would welcome your feedback at any time about how the process is going and how we might improve it. But August to September, we're going to be doing some listening and discovery, and it is about what we deeply value in our common life, what energises us and gives us life, what we want to affirm in our current plan, and what we want to do more of, and maybe what we want to let go of. Second conversation is still a discovery conversation. It's about what do we value from other faith communities, what resonates with us, what we've learned, and we want to do some visits. So that's the big piece of work I'm working on at the moment. But I would welcome, and I'm happy to be the conduit for this, would welcome your ideas about places we should or could visit that are inspiring you and you think might inspire all of us. So would really welcome and encourage you to come to me or just send me an email and just suggest some ideas.
So can I just ask, when you talk about visiting, who's going to be doing the visiting?
Whoever wants to. Yeah. I think last time, I gather from the process, there was one Sunday where I think a number of people went off to different churches. I think it's important that we push the boundaries a bit. And there are churches that are pretty similar to what we're doing. I'd like to push the boundaries and go to churches where they're not doing stuff that's similar to us, or that might be inspiring.
So you're not just talking about you,
not me.
Andy and
No.
Jocelyn. So if people want to do something...
Yeah. So this is about suggesting, all of us can be involved. And we might do the same thing again. We might say, pick a Sunday and just all disperse and go to different places and come back and tell that story. So that'll be part of that second part of the discovery. I'm open to what that looks like. I've got no predetermined idea about it. So September, October is really about looking externally and what we're bringing back, what we're learning, and we'll look at some people present what they've learnt on their visits and identify what's inspired them and where there's alignment with our own vision and values. Discernment is really about gaining clarity. So now this is one I'm proposing. I think we need a big day out at some point. So it's convenient for us to keep meeting here, and it's cheap because we don't have to pay, hire a venue. I'd like to go to a different context, a different place, an inspiring venue that stimulates our thinking. And one of the ideas I've had was Ceres Environmental Park in Brunswick, back into the inner city. But it is about spending a day together. So it's a big day out. That may not work for everybody, and we'll need to put in arrangements for transport and making sure people can get there and get there. But I think that's important too, to get out of our, if you like, our familiar environment. And it's working through, listening deeply, working through our big ideas, and this is where we'll do our World Cafe. So it's a big day for discernment. And then the last part is a conversation in November where we start to get specific, look at crystallising our best ideas, and this is where I talked about Pro-Action Cafe. And I encourage you to look up World Cafe and Pro-Action Cafe processes, what they can do. As we get into the new year, we'll be developing and drafting a pathway plan. There might be, along the way, so after these conversations we're having, I'll hopefully be able to give you updates or a summary of what we discussed the previous couple of weeks in church. So people who might have missed that workshop will have some awareness of what was discussed and what came up in the workshops. So that'll be a regular part of the rhythm of reporting back and giving people feedback about the process. And that'll be an Advent. And then, as I said earlier, January, February will be an implementation plan. And this is the scary part. This is about committing to something. So, so what I'm proposing, this is the tricky bit, is there are a number of people heading off on a pilgrimage, I think. It's a religious pilgrimage or something, going up north. So I'm mindful that those people won't be able to contribute to a conversation in the middle of August because they'll be up in Queensland, I think, or on their way, or somewhere thereabouts. So I have proposed to put together a first conversation next Sunday afternoon, and it's short notice. I think I flagged it was happening last week, but for those who can attend that, that'll be one of the same conversation will happen probably again on the 16th of August. But there's an opportunity next Sunday before you go away to join that. So if you could let me know if you're able to attend or want to attend, I'd probably reckon it's worth starting. If we get about 10 people, I'm happy to run with that. And then we'll have the same session, same conversation on the 16th of August as well. And I'm actually proposing we'll do another, an alternative, so people don't miss out. It might be an evening or something. September's busy. We've got Father's Day. There's Craig's inductions on the second Sunday in September. So there's a lot happening there on Sundays. So we may need to pick another time for those who haven't been able to participate up until that point. So I'm happy to do that too. It could be an evening around a meal. The other thing about next Sunday and these Sunday conversations will be that we'll have lunch, and I haven't made any catering arrangements, but I would welcome your suggestions about how we can cater and stay for lunch and then go on and do the work together, have the first conversation. So as we go through August, our second conversation, our discovery is in September, and then October we've got our big day. I'm proposing at the end of October will be the big day out, and then we hit the fourth conversation in November and so on. There are two conversations. For the second conversation is on the 20th of September and the 4th of October. So I'm just offering a couple of times, so I'm just not pinning it all on one date. It makes there's a lot of sessions, but I think it's important to be inclusive. And anyway, the leadership team will work through all the material through the normal rhythm of our meeting, and we'll launch our plan sometime in the new year. Obviously, Craig's been brought along with this too, and Craig he's up to speed with this, and will join the conversation with us as we continue on with Craig in ministry. Any questions? Carol?
These dates, can they go in an email or the well or something?
They were in the welcome.
Oh, they would, okay, great.
And look, what might happen, Caroline, is for whatever reason, some of these dates may not work for the majority of people. So I'm happy to tweak and change. I'm letting you know that I'm happy to do that work to change it.
Can I make a suggestion? As coordinator of the hospitality committee, that everyone brings their own lunch and we're going to give coffee.
Great.
I just look at those dates and I think that's really hard. So if everyone's prepared to just bring something they would like.
Does that sound like a good idea?
We've got a lunch for Craig in
Yep.
there, and there is a lot of us away. So if anyone has any different idea to that, come and see me with an offer that they're going to help.
Thanks, Katrina. Great. Does it sound? I think that sound. People are nodding. Lots of nodding. Great. Sounds like a good plan. Thank you. Any other questions, comments, feedback? Great. There's a couple of things. I'm going to send out a link this week to a video. It was made in the 90s, the 80s actually, and it was based on a book called The Man Who Planted Trees. Is anybody familiar with that book? It's a French book. It tells an amazing story. The video is about 30 minutes long, and it is about, it's basically the story of a guy who, through a whole lot of circumstances in his life, finds himself alone in the French countryside, and a desolate French countryside, and he starts to plant trees. And it's an extraordinary story about transformation and hope. And I'm sharing it with you because I think that's important. The other thing is, there's a quote again. I used this quote maybe a month or so ago, but it's by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. And this is a section of the quote from Hearts on Fire. And he said, "Only God could say what this new spirit gradually forming within you will be. Give our Lord the benefit of believing that their hand is leading you, and accept the anxiety of feeling yourself in suspense and incomplete."
Let's gather in prayer for our community, both here and abroad. God of roads and companionship, we gather here as the weird and wonderful kaleidoscope of people known as church folk. Each of us with our own quirks and habits, each of us with lives both public and private, each of us with our mountains and molehills. We acknowledge that community does not stop at this building, at our homes, in our suburbs, or in our cities. We pray for the people in our world facing poverty and danger. Give them the food they need to live and grow. Give them the peace they need to prosper and thrive. And grant us the will to help it happen. We pray for those in our community who need support in the face of challenge and adversity. Give them the courage to find the path before them. Give them the strength to follow it. And grant us the wisdom to support them. Finally, we pray for ourselves, for the unvoiced thoughts buried in our souls, for hidden struggles, both big and small, for all the things that we work through every day. Grant us the knowledge that we are not alone, and that we are held in arms, both physical and ephemeral, and that moving forwards does not mean going alone. Amen.
We're going to sing together the song "In Love for Me." as a lead into communion. This is my body, broken for you, bringing you wholeness, making you free. Take it and eat it, and as you do it in love for me. This is my blood poured out for you, bringing forgiveness, making you free. Take it and drink it, and as you do it in love for me. Love one another. I have loved you, and I have shown you how to be free. Serve one another, and as you do it in love for me.
We come to communion and a community service announcement. The crackers, I believe, are gluten-free. Is that correct? Okay, so...
So it's a choice of chocolate or gluten-free crackers.
yeah, you can... As they say...
Oh, we've got chocolate if anyone wants it.
Obviously, there are some special tables. We come to communion, a time when our community comes together, where we can reflect on the past, the present, and the future. And he took bread, gave thanks, and broke it, saying, "This is my body, given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." In the same way, after the supper, he took the cup, saying, "This cup is a new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." Announcements. Who has something that they want to say? Pete.
I do. Today is Janine's birthday. So I was going to propose that we sing happy birthday.
Well, I think we can actually sing happy birthday to the two people on the same seat. Is that correct? And Carolyn. Well done. Okay, so don't. Yeah, that's premature yet. So please don't try and insert names. Who wants to? I'll start. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to
won't ask the maths for anyone how that goes. Now, are you standing next to me for any reason?
I think we're going to close with the Gaelic lesson.
Hold on a sec. Easy, Tiger. Okay, Janine is waving her hand.
It's National Tree Day, so just in reference to what Paul said about sending out the video about trees and planting, I thought that was very relevant.
Okay, did everybody hear that? It's National Tree Day, which loops back into some of the stuff that Paul was talking about.
Something about sending out a video about someone planting a tree.
So is that sitting under a tree, planting a tree, looking at a tree, cutting down a tree? No, I don't think that's on the list. Okay. Katrina's going to lead us in the sing. No, sorry.
Look, I haven't asked anyone about me saying this, so yeah.
Sit down.
So placemaking, I want to thank Barb for the amazing work she is doing at Highfield Road. I would suggest that she is there every day and often at night. She said it's better than doing housework, but look, she's doing an enormous amount of work. We have 20, how many rooms have we got, Pete? 27 rooms of stuff that I'm just continually amazed at what comes out. But we did sell the last pew yesterday, so they're all going to be gone soon. The organ has gone, so Pete, having come back, is going to be very excited when he goes over there. But one of the things that we did this week, there's a lady that was a pastoral care person in a hospital who has had cancer herself, has decided to set up a place in the Mornington Peninsula where she, out of her own super, is building a chapel. And she wants to make a space for people with care and people with cancer to go down. She has bought our communion table and she is very, very excited about it. And Barb's given her a few bits and pieces. We've given her some Bibles. She wants to buy the cross. Now, off the wall from Highfield Road. Now, I think your husband made that cross, didn't he? I am feeling very much, we have lots out there that we have from Highfield Road. We've got lots there that are a combination of ourselves. And I don't feel personally that I want to say she can buy the cross. We've talked to people from Highfield Road and they are saying we don't mind. But if anyone has a problem with her selling the cross or giving her the cross, or and you think that as we're looking forward to what we're doing ourselves, that cross could be something that we could use and would be special, I'm happy to hold off on it until we decide. But I didn't want to make that decision. So if anyone has a big problem with it or has a thought about it, can you talk to me?
Thanks, Katrina. Okay, thanks. Thank you to Bo in the booth. Thank you to Musos, Michael for the prayer, Barb, Paul, Jocelyn, Andy, what's his name? Dave. Although his work isn't finished yet. Thanks very much. We'll finish with the Gaelic blessing. Dave, thank you.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain fall soft upon your fields. And until